Welcome back to Bird's Eye View. I'm Sam Nins. Today I want to talk about the role of beauty in nature. I know it's my fourth post and I'm already getting philosophical, but for those of you guys who know me, that's just who I am as a person. So, have you ever wondered why beauty exists? Why we find colors attractive, why songs are soothing, why we sing songs of beautiful lands, beautiful people, write poems about it? Well, that's going to be the subject of today's post. But before we get into that, I just want to set what the definition of beauty is that I'm going to be following for this. And the definition that I use is beauty is that which is desired to be returned to. And it's kind of a watered down version of a quote that I heard from Frank Wilczek. I hope he said his last name correctly. He said, quote, "Beautiful things are things that evolution has primed us to enjoy and want to come back to and feel pleasure in experiencing." End quote. And he said that on an episode of On Being, which is an interesting podcast. I am linking the episode down at the bottom of this page, so if you're interested, you can check it out. It's very interesting. Now, me being environmentally minded, of course, that's going to resonate with me, talking about beauty in terms of evolution, how it's going to benefit us. So it got me into thinking, what is the role or purpose of beauty in nature? So now the first thing you might think of when you think of beauty in nature is the bird. Many bird species actually use beauty as their main driver of evolution. It's a term called sexual selection. So the females are making their choice of mate based off of the visual or the visual characteristics or the ability to sing a song, sort of physical things that are able to be experienced rather than how fit they are in terms of survival. For many species, males show off how bright and magnificent their feathers are, which then shows the females how physically fit they are and how healthy their genes are to survive to the next generation. But of course, the females aren't thinking, "Wow, he looks like he has good genes." They're probably thinking, "Oh, wow, look at the feathers on that guy. Ooh, bow chicka wow wow." And this is why we see birds like the northern cardinal with their bright red feathers that stand out from their surroundings, which is important, or peacocks with their large feathers that are also bright and vibrant, but they're so large and heavy that they can barely get off the ground. These are not good when it comes to trying to survive, not being able to fly or standing out, but we'll get to that in a moment. This also applies to birds with the most beautiful calls. Especially at this time of year in March, we're going to be hearing a lot of cardinals practicing their mating calls. And there's a reason they're practicing is because they need to get it just right to please the ear of the ladies. So it's interesting that these traits that the birds have, their bright feathers and their loud, vibrant songs, they cause them to stand out. And you would think that an animal would not want to stand out because they can stand out to a predator like a hawk. But the birds have decided that beauty is more important, or evolution has led them to favor beauty over hiding in terms of their survival, which is interesting. So I guess in terms of the definition, the birds that are more beautiful are the ones that the females want to return to or be with and carry on their genetic code with. Another place of beauty in nature is food. There is something eye-catching about a ripe fruit or vegetable that we should be eating. Yep, I'm calling you out. Side note, fruits and vegetables are actually the reproductive parts of plants, so their purpose is to protect and nourish the seeds within them for the next generation of the plant. Now, normally when they first begin to grow, they're kind of dull, not very eye-catching. Think of a tomato. When they're growing, they're kind of just green, same color as the stem, doesn't really catch your eye. And later on, at just the right moment, when the fruit or vegetable is ripe, still thinking about the tomato here, they'll turn bright colors, in this case red. Our brains have actually evolved over time to associate these bright colors with ripeness, so we know when to eat the food. And of course, if we wait too long and the fruit or vegetable starts to rot, they're past their ripeness, then usually we don't find that beautiful in both sight and smell, and we know not to eat it. So, back to our definition. Beauty is that which is desired to be returned to. The beautiful fruits and vegetables are the ones that we are going to return to choosing to eat. Beauty can actually protect us as well. There are many creatures in the natural world with bright, vibrant colors that tell us to stay away. A recognizable species that demonstrates this is the poison dart frog. Their skin is toxic, and we can tell, we're warned of that by the fact that they're very bright. They're very vibrant colored. But if we're looking a little bit closer to home here in Connecticut, we actually have a species of salamander called the yellow spotted salamander because they have yellow spots on them. And those yellow spots are actually warning us that this salamander is toxic. Now, if you were to touch the salamander, it's not a problem. But if you were to eat the salamander, which I don't recommend, especially because their populations are threatened, so please don't do that. But anyways, if you were, they actually can secrete a toxin through their skin. So those yellow spots are warning us about that. Bright colors being warnings for toxic species are also seen in snakes and mushrooms, and actually plenty of other species as well. Some species actually copy these bright colors as well to fool predators. So, for example, the milk snake copies the yellow, orange, and black coloration that the coral snake has to try to fool us into thinking that they are also venomous, but they are not. So, I had a milk snake as a pet. She was not very friendly, but she wasn't venomous. So, this one was kind of interesting when thinking about the definition of that which is desired to be returned to, because I just talked about how all these creatures are trying to make us stay away, but I think how it fits here is that beauty is that which is desired to be returned to or to be noticed, for our eyes to return to looking at them. And that connects here because these animals actually want to be noticed. They're not trying to hide. They want to be seen so that they can show us and warn us that they are toxic, they are poisonous, they are venomous, so don't even try. So to sum this all up, many creatures experience beauty for different reasons which allow us to survive. Beauty helps us to find the right partners, helps us to find healthy food, and it also helps us to avoid dangers. It actually could serve many other purposes too, and if you could think of any, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.